Hey, my name is George, and this is a tutorial about how you're gonna make your photos look more professional. I'm currently in Slovenia. It's a super nice camp spot we have here, and we're gonna have a bonfire tonight. But I'm gonna make this tutorial first. So let me get started.
First of all though, before we're gonna move on to my 5 tips on how to make your footage look more professional, let's start by applying my presets and let me show you which general changes I do to them to make them fit the footage you want. This shot is taken during dawn. As you can see, the sun has already set. So let's start our evening preset. As you can see, the footage is pretty dark, so I'll start by changing my exposure levels until I'm happy and the footage looks like I want it to. Also, in this period, you can change white balance and you can change your general highlights, shadows, whites and black to make these slight adjustments you need to make the footage look like you want. Though I'm pretty happy with how it looks here, so I'll just keep it this way for now. So, let's move on to my 5 secrets.
What you're gonna learn today is you have to apply it on both your post-production, so your editing, but it also applies on your shooting itself. So my first tips is set up your scene.
And let me explain you a bit more what I mean by that. Setting up your scene means to make your object pop out. Obviously, this differs from landscape image to portrait image. But let's take a portrait image as an example, as you also can use that for landscape. It is important that what you are shooting comes naturally in focus for your eye. In this shot, this is done by putting the person straight in the middle and having her stand to a hill, which goes all the way back through the image. So you feel like you're looking at her on one flat, but you feel like you have a nice landscape continuing behind in the image without distracting you too much, but giving a nice continuous flow to the image. Landscapes are often the same, where you have to put one or another feature in front and other objects behind. If a picture gets too confused, the eye will not find it interesting anymore as all the objects get disturbing. This is a tip that really just applies for the way you're gonna shoot your image, but I'll show you later how this can be enhanced in your post-production.
So make simple setups, nice details in the background, but have something that is your object. My second tips is you have to shoot in low contrast. What is most destroying for your picture, if it's not like some style of yours, is when contrast is too high, and that is in daylight, in shiny daylight. So shoot during sunrise or shoot during sunset to get really nice mellow colors. And if you really want to shoot in day, what I like to do is use the shadow. I shoot in the shadow, so I go in the woods or find like a big tree or something where I have a nice shadow, and I shoot my subject in the shadows. And then I have the highlights somewhere around, which I can use to make the image even pop out more. My third tips is about your aperture, which you're gonna shoot with. Aperture is a great thing, you know. You can make subjects really come out of the picture, and you can make other stuff really blur out. But I often see that when people get their first lens with a low aperture where they really can make objects pop out, they start to shoot with far too low blenders. I did that myself in the beginning because you think like, whoa, look, everything is so blurred out and one thing is sharp. Generally, if you go under an aperture under 2.5, your object is just gonna it's gonna stand out too much and probably not hold the subject, gonna be sharp even. So Generally try to shoot with a little bit higher aperture than you maybe like to make sure that everything is sharp, and then rather in post-production you can make other stuff unsharp.
So let me show you how I would do this. I've shot this shot with an aperture of 4, which ensures me that Olof and Silva is sharp, but I do miss quite a bit of that blurred out effect I might like to have in the background. So what I do, I take my local brush, I make it pretty big and start to roughly mark out the space which is behind and Sylvia. As you can see, this is the space I marked. Misses a little bit here. And then I just, easy as this, drag down the sharpness quite a bit. And one of the great advantages of this is that in the same brush I can just take down my clarity a bit, which gives me that extra set of blurred out and shiny background.
Because things that are sharp is easy to make unsharp in post-production, but things that are unsharp you will never manage to make sharp in post-production. So take care of your aperture levels. My fourth tips is to shoot in your environment, which I mean in your colors. Because one thing about the people who are great in editing, and what you probably want to become yourself as you're buying my presets, is color profiling. You want a consistent look in your image. You want like a nice clean look with natural colors, not too saturated but not too unsaturated. And the first way you're gonna do that is actually not during your post-production. It's actually in your environment you shoot in. Like, I prefer natural brown and blue colors, so I have to shoot in environments who feature these colors. Like, either I have to shoot in the woods, in the forest, or I have to have some kind of brown background, you know? So once you have done that, you have your image, and then in post-production I'm gonna show you some really nice tricks on how you can keep your colors identically using a presets but still having them pop out. So have a look at this.
So again, have in mind that these presets are made for a general purpose. So even though they already include quite a bit of color profiling, it is very important to still work individual with your colors, as you want to enhance your natural look. There are two ways to do this, and I'll show you the easiest way first. You go down to your HSL settings, where your individual can work with your colors. And what I want to do here is to enhance this green, as I believe if this will be a bit more poppy, it can make give the image a new shine, and it can also look way more natural. So what you really can do is go onto your saturation here, choose this tool here, and you can just mark the color you want to change and drag it upwards, and it will automatically increase the saturation. As you can see, it also changed a bit of the reds and the orange, so you can go over to the skin here again, drag down the skin, work a bit more with the greens, maybe change even the hues a little bit to give it a little bit more poppy green. This you can play a lot with. But there is also a different way to do this, because sometimes when you shoot, colors are not very specific, and it can be really hard to increase just one color or achieve the look you want. So if we go back and take away all the change we've done, I'll show you another way to do this. Again, use your local brush and just start to mark out all the areas with your green here. This is a bit of a hassle because it includes quite a bit of work, but you will soon understand the message of this and you can work way better with this. So once I marked this out roughly, you can use these settings here to get exactly that green you want. I won't use too much time now to do this, but you get what I want to tell you, and you see the green I'm achieving. So, hope you've enjoyed my tutorial until now. It's really getting to it's starting to get a bit dark, and actually my fire is dying, so let's try to get some more power in here. But let's move on to my last tips. What's really gonna make your image look stunning after all these things I've told you is to make your image shine. And with that I mean like that you have a flat looking image that looks natural, but still you have like darks and whites that shine, you know? If you look at these pictures here, you will see that they all have like a distant nice shine to them, you know? It's a bit unnaturally because mostly you will not get a shine like that, but that's what makes it appealing for the eye when you see it somewhere. And it's important to find a good balance on how to make these shines, because if you make them too obvious it will just look over edited. And I'm gonna show you straightforward how I make this the most easy way. This is mostly the last step in my editing, and this is where I apply this distinct shine which makes an image extra appealing when you look at it. How I do it is that I mostly use radial filter or gradual filters, and I try to enhance the shine already existing in the shine, and I try to enhance gradual filters. Filter or that I mostly use radial in the already exists the shine, and I try to enhance gradual filters. Filter or that I mostly use radial already exists the shine in the gradual filters. Filter or that I mostly use radial already exists the shine in the gradual filters. Filter or that I mostly use radial already exists the shine in the, and I try to enhance. I mostly use radial filter or enhance the shine in the already exists. I mostly use radial, and I try to enhance filter or enhance the shine in the, that I mostly use radial, and I try to enhance already exists filter or in the enhance the shine, that I mostly use radial, and I try to enhance filter or already existing in the enhance the shine, and I try to enhance. I mostly use radial filter or in the enhance the shine, and I try to enhance filter or that I mostly use radial enhance the shine in the, and I try to enhance filter or that I mostly use radial already exists the shine in the filter or, and I try to enhance. I mostly use radial already existing in the enhance the shine filter or that I mostly use radial, and I try to enhance in the already exist gradual filters. Filter or that I mostly use radial. So yeah guys, that was pretty much it. My 5 tips to make your photos look more professional. I really got one more tips, which is kind of my secret little ingredients, which I really hope you all gonna go down here on this page and download. Sadly it's just for Canon users, and it's called Vision Color CineStyle. It's a color profile developed by Vision Color, which
you install on your Canon, and it makes your raw image look more flat. All the images I've shown you are shoot with the CineStyle color profile, and that really gave me that little extra potential of my image, because what it really does is, or let me explain what it doesn't do. Normal color profiles from cameras, from DSLR cameras, they put on a layer. So even though you have a raw file, they've already put on an edited layer to make it look nicer, you know. It's supposed for people who are not post-producing their pictures, they're just shooting and they want them to look nice. What it really does though is it takes up contrast and saturation, means your highlights and shadows, they will just fade out like you see here in these pictures. But once you shoot them with CineStyle Vision Color CineStyle, you will have all these details still left. You will have your highlights intact, you will see details, and also in your darks you will see a lot of details. And that again in your post-production will give you millions more of opportunities to edit them. So yeah, get down there and download that color profile, and make sure to subscribe to my email list at the same time. And for you who are not using Canon, don't be too sad. Like, what you really can do is go on your camera, go on to your color profile settings, and just take out all the contrast there is, and like little bit of the saturation, and you'll be there almost. The Vision Color CineStyle does a few more things, but that's gonna improve your footage as well. So yeah, just go on your color profiling, take down saturation and contrast, and you'll be there. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you're gonna have a lot of fun with my presets. I think they look great. They look stunning for all kinds of footage, especially like low light. Have in mind that I developed them generally, like these are not gonna look perfect immediately once you put them on top of your footage, because every footage is different. So these presets are really just containing color profiling and then slight changes in basic change, like in luminance and contrast levels, according to which daytime they're meant for. So apply them and then you do your own change to make your personal look. I wish you a lot of fun with them, and yeah, enjoy the rest of the day. I'm gonna keep to watch my fire now because it's dying and it's getting dark and we want to make some nice food.
I'm gonna say hi.
Hi. Say something.